What's up, Chuckers? This is Nook from the Catch This podcast, and today I want to talk about getting started with a sling. So if you're brand new to slinging, this is for you. So what I have here is a pretty basic leather and paracord sling. This is a common style. You see a lot of these. These are simple to make. I'm going to use this just as an example, but whatever type of sling you have is great. Odds are it's going to be very similar in construction in terms of the basic anatomy. So I'm going to go over that first. So obviously, in the middle of the sling, we have the pouch. That's where your ammo goes. And then on one side, we have a loop, and this is called a finger loop or a retention loop. And that's because when you throw, the retention loop keeps you from throwing the sling along with it. So then this is the retention cord. And then on the other side, this is the side that you let go of when you throw. And so this is called the release cord. And then this knot here is called the release knot. And that basically serves as your trigger when you're slinging. The way you sling is you let go of that and it releases your ammo. So let's start with how to hold the sling. So what you want to do is you want to start with your palm up. I'm left-handed, so I'm using my left hand, but you want to use your right hand if you're right-handed, or whatever hand you want, whatever. So you start with palm up, and then whichever finger is most comfortable for you. I like to use my middle finger. You take the retention loop, and while maintaining palm up, you put the loop over your hand. So there's nothing in my hand here, and I'm going palm up, so the sling is hanging. Now you take your release cord, the release knot, and you want to pinch it between your thumb and forefinger. So now I have the sling and still nothing in my palm, but the sling is hanging in my hand. Now that you've got it ready to go, you take your ammo and you load it. I highly recommend that you use a tennis ball first if you're in an area where it could go wild and hit something that you don't want to hit. You're responsible with whatever you hit with your sling. A lot of people, when they first start out, want to do sort of this classic, what we call helicopter style, where you're swinging around like this. The problem with that is if you accidentally let go of this, it could go in any direction and kind of goes wild. I'm going to go get that. What you should do is do an underhand style. So if you're swinging like this, then if the ball accidentally releases, it's either going to go towards you, or it's going to go where you want it to, or it's going to go behind you, or maybe straight up or down into the ground. But at least there's this plane where it's going to go. So it's a little more controlled. It's not going to go wild in any direction like if you're swinging it like this. So when you start with an underhand throw, what you want to do is think of it kind of like you're bowling, where you want to let go of that release cord about a 45-degree angle in front of you, right about there. Now I'll stand back and demonstrate that. The next thing that a lot of beginner slingers do is they put a lot more arm motion into it than they really need to. So most of the initial wind-up motion happens in the wrist. You're not moving the elbow, your wrist doesn't move much at all. You're not doing this. You're not chicken winging it. You're just moving. It's all in the wrist. And so you want until you get ready to throw, and then it becomes a full body motion, and you actually put your whole body into a throw, almost like you're throwing a bowling ball. Of course, if you don't, it takes a little bit of practice and building the muscle memory to get a whole body motion out of it. If you're mostly throwing with your arm at the beginning, that's okay. You will get used to it, and with more practice, you'll get better at putting power into the throw. The first thing you want to focus on is just making it go where you want to go. So it's okay if it starts out with most of the power in the arm. Don't try to throw too hard or force it, because you could pull a muscle. You got to be careful. If your form is wrong and you're trying to push the limits of how hard you're throwing, you could hurt your shoulder, hurt your arm. So obviously, like any sport, use judgment. If it hurts, you may be doing something wrong, and so take it easy. Alright, so that's just about it for getting started with the sling if you're brand new. Now, obviously, if you're experienced, then some of these other styles where you're helicoptering or doing other things is fine. You're still responsible for whatever you're throwing and wherever it goes. So now I'm just going to end this with some gratuitous slinging shots that show what you can do with a little bit more practice and once you start to get a little power.